The tall silver spaceship landed softly on the grassy field outside the small town. Clouds of steam rose from underneath as the engines powered down. A crowd of humans gathered at a safe distance, pointing and whispering among themselves. Nobody in Pinewood had ever seen aliens before. Sheriff Diane Foster pushed through the crowd, her uniform marking her as the town authority. She stood at the front, hands on her hips, watching as a door opened on the side of the ship. Her deputies stood nearby, hands near their weapons just in case. A ramp extended from the doorway, touching the ground with a soft thud. The humans held their breath, waiting to see what kind of creatures would emerge from the mysterious craft. The alien who stepped onto the ramp looked almost human, but not quite. She stood nearly 7 feet tall, with light purple skin that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. Her hair was white as snow, falling in waves down to her waist. Her eyes were the most striking feature, one gold and one silver, looking curiously at the gathered humans. Sheriff Diane stepped forward, her hand raised in greeting. "Hello and welcome to Earth. I am Sheriff Foster, the authority in this town." The alien woman smiled, revealing teeth that looked like small pearls. "My name is Alara. I come from the planet Listheria across the stars. We have been watching your world for many cycles." 2 more aliens appeared behind Alara, both female with the same purple skin, but with different colored eyes. They carried no visible weapons but moved with the grace of trained warriors. "Our ship suffered damage passing through your atmosphere," Alara explained. "We need to make repairs before continuing our journey. We mean no harm to your people, Sheriff." Diane nodded slowly, trying to hide her nervousness. "This is Pinewood. You can stay while you repair your ship as long as you follow our laws." The crowd behind her muttered, some excited, some fearful. This was the biggest thing to happen in their small town since the flood. 10 years ago, Alara bowed her head in agreement. "We understand. We will respect your customs. Sheriff Foster, may I introduce my companions? This is Vela, our science officer, and Nix, our security chief." The 3 aliens followed Diane away from the ship, toward the town. The crowd parted, some people reaching out to touch the visitors, others backing away in fear. Sheriff Diane led them to the town hall, where Mayor Karen White waited on the steps, her face a mixture of awe and concern. "Mayor White, this is Alara and her crew from Listheria," Diane said formally. "Their ship needs repairs." The mayor, a short woman with dark hair and a friendly face, stepped forward. "Welcome to Pinewood. How long will you need to stay?" "Vela," the science officer spoke, her voice melodic. "Perhaps 7 of your Earth days if we can find the materials we need." Mayor Karen nodded. 7 days. Then Pinewood will provide whatever help we can offer. Please consider yourselves our guests." The news spread quickly throughout the town and beyond. Soon reporters from the nearest city arrived with cameras and microphones. Government officials called, demanding information. Military helicopters circled overhead, but kept their distance. Sheriff Diane found herself protecting the aliens from curious humans rather than the other way around. She set up a perimeter around their ship and assigned deputies to escort the visitors. When they went into town on the 3rd day, Alara asked to see more of the area around Pinewood. Diane agreed to take her on a tour, driving her patrol car down country roads past farms and forests. The alien princess seemed fascinated by everything. "Your world has such beauty," Alara said, watching cows grazing in a field. "So much life everywhere you look, and Listheria. Much of our surface is desert. We live in cities under protective domes." Diane glanced at her passenger. "Do all your people look like you?" Purple skin and different colored eyes, Alara smiled. "Most of us, yes. Though our skin tones vary from light lavender to deep violet. We are not so different from humans in our basic form. 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head. We breathe oxygen like you, though we live much longer. 300 of your Earth years is an average lifespan for my people." The sheriff whistled. 300 years, I can't imagine living so long." The alien woman looked thoughtful. "Is it not difficult knowing you have so little time? Does it not make humans afraid?" Diane considered this. "Maybe it makes us live more fully, knowing our time is limited. We don't take days for granted." They stopped at Wilson Creek, a beautiful spot where water tumbled over rocks, creating a small waterfall. Ilara walked to the edge, her eyes wide with wonder, watching fish swim in the clear water. Water flows freely on your world, she said. Such abundance, we collect every drop on Listeria. Nothing is wasted. As they walked along the creek, Ilara suddenly stopped, pointing to a small yellow flower growing between rocks. What is this plant? That's just a dandelion, Diane explained, a common wildflower. Some people consider it a weed. Ilara knelt, touching the flower gently. A weed, yet it is beautiful, growing where it should not, thriving despite challenges. On my world, we would treasure such determination. Dunn saw her town and world differently through the alien's eyes. Things she took for granted seemed special when Ilara noticed them. The abundant water, the variety of plants, animals living freely, rather than in protected habitats. Back in town, Mayor Karen had organized a welcome dinner in the community center. The three aliens sat at the head table, sampling Earth foods with curious expressions. Some they enjoyed, others they politely declined. Nyx, the security chief, remained watchful, her golden eyes scanning the room constantly. Her hand never strayed far from a small device at her waist, which Diane suspected was a weapon. Do you face dangers in your travels? Sheriff Diane asked her. Nyx nodded slightly. Space is vast and not all species are friendly. We have enemies. The Drakari Empire has hunted our kind for generations. Is that why you're exploring new worlds? Diane asked. To find allies. Ilara, who overheard the question, turned from her conversation with the mayor. Perhaps, she said, but also to find new homes. Our population grows. Our resources diminish. We seek compatible worlds, Mayor. Karen looked concerned. Are you planning to colonize Earth? No, Ilara shook her head. We only settle uninhabited planets. We believe in respecting established civilizations. We are explorers and traders, not conquerors. The dinner continued with music and dancing. The aliens watched as humans performed traditional dances. Then Ilara stood and performed a graceful Listherian dance, her movements fluid and hypnotic. The crowd applauded, impressed by her skill. Later that night, as Sheriff Diane drove the aliens back to their ship, Ilara looked up at the stars visible through the car window, pointing to a faint blue star, barely visible. That is our sun, she said. From this distance, it appears so small, yet around it circles our entire civilization, just as your sun holds your world in its embrace. Diane looked up briefly at the night sky. How many worlds have you visited? Ilara thought for a moment. 27, with intelligent life, hundreds more without. Your Earth is among the most beautiful. At the ship, Vela reported that repairs were progressing well. They had found most materials they needed in the nearby city. The aliens thanked Diane for her hospitality and retreated into their craft. Sheriff Diane drove back to town. She wondered what changes this visit would bring to Pinewood and to Earth. Already the world was watching their small town. Now that humans knew they weren't alone in the universe, nothing would ever be the same. On the fourth day of the aliens' visit, a black government car arrived in Pinewood. Two men in dark suits stepped out, introducing themselves as Agents Kelly and Weber from National Security. They requested a meeting with Sheriff Diane and Mayor Karen. We need to take over management of the alien visitors. Agent Kelly said, his voice firm. This is a matter of national security. Mayor. Karen frowned, folding her arms across her chest. The Listherians are guests of our town. They have caused no trouble and are repairing their ship to leave. Sheriff Diane nodded in agreement. They have followed all our rules and shown nothing but respect, Agent. Weber leaned forward, his expression serious. You don't understand the potential threat. These aliens have advanced technology. They could be gathering intelligence for an invasion, Sheriff. Diane shook her head. I spent hours with Ilara yesterday. She has no interest in invading Earth. Their civilization seeks peaceful contact, not conquest. Nevertheless, the agents insisted on meeting the aliens. Sheriff Diane drove them to the spaceship where Ilara, Vela, and Nyx were working on repairs. The purple-skinned visitors greeted the government men politely, but Diane noticed how Nyx positioned herself protectively. Near her leader, Agents Kelly and Weber asked many questions about Listherian technology. weapons capabilities, and interstellar politics. Ilara answered patiently, explaining that her people valued knowledge and exploration above military power. Our ship carries scientific equipment, not weapons, Ilara explained. We defend ourselves when necessary, but we do not seek conflict, Agent. Kelly looked skeptical. Would you allow us to inspect your vessel? Ilara exchanged glances with Nix before nodding. There are areas containing technology beyond your current scientific understanding which we cannot show you, but you may see the main sections of our ship. The interior of the spacecraft amazed the humans. Curved walls shimmered with soft light. The air felt fresh and carried a slight floral scent. Displays showed star charts and data in an alien language. Ilara led them through living quarters, storage areas, and a central command room. Everything was elegant and efficient. After the tour, Agent Weber pulled Sheriff Diane aside. This is more advanced than anything we've ever seen, he whispered. If they wanted to, they could probably wipe out a city with this technology. Diane looked around at the peaceful ship. These aliens traveled across stars. To explore, not to destroy. If they wanted to harm us, they would have done it already, not stop to make friends in a small town. The agents left unsatisfied, promising to return with specialists. Meanwhile, the aliens continued their repairs. Bela, the science officer, spent hours in the town library reading Earth books and accessing the internet, learning everything she could about human society. On the fifth day, a crowd of protesters arrived in Pinewood. They carried signs reading, "Aliens go, home and protect, Earth first." They gathered outside the town hall, shouting and demanding the visitors be sent away. Sheriff Diane and her deputies formed a line between the protesters and a growing group of local supporters who had come to welcome the aliens. Tension filled the air as the two groups faced each other. Mayor Karen tried to calm everyone. "This is not how we treat guests in Pinewood," she called out. "These visitors have shown us nothing but friendship." A large man from the protest group pushed forward. "They aren't human," he shouted. "They don't belong here. They could be planning to take over." Just then, Ilara and her companions walked into the town square. The crowd fell silent as the tall, purple-skinned women approached Sheriff. Diane saw that they wore simple Earth clothes today. Jeans and t-shirts provided by townspeople trying to blend in, though their alien features made that impossible. Ilara spoke, her voice carrying across the square. "I understand your fear," she said, addressing the protesters. "It is natural to be wary of those who are different. When unknown ships appeared in our skies centuries ago, my ancestors also feared. But communication brought understanding, and with understanding came peace." She stepped closer. "Some of you worry we bring disease or seek to steal your resources or wish to conquer your people. I assure you we want none of these things. We are travelers, researchers, explorers. We seek knowledge and friendship, not conquest." A woman from the protest group called out, "Why should we believe you? You look so different from us. How do we know what you really want?" Ilara smiled, her different colored eyes reflecting the sunlight. "In my travels, I have found that beneath surface differences, most intelligent beings share common desires. We all wish for safety for our loved ones, opportunities for our children, beauty and meaning in our lives, peace rather than conflict. Though we look different, our hearts hold similar dreams." Her words seemed to affect the crowd. The angry shouts diminished. Some protesters lowered their signs, listening. "One of you asked why you should trust us." Ilara continued, "Let me show you something." She reached into a small bag and pulled out a clear crystal that fit in her palm. When she pressed it, a holographic image appeared above it, a city beneath a dome, purple-skinned people walking in gardens, children playing in a park. "This is my home," she said. "Our cities, our families. This is what we protect and cherish, just as you protect your homes and families. We have traveled too far, built too much, overcome too many challenges to risk it all on conquest. War benefits. No one peace in exchange of knowledge. Benefits all." The protest leader still looked suspicious. "So what do you want from us?" he demanded. "Knowledge. Vela." The science officer answered, stepping forward. We collect information about all worlds we visit, biology, culture, history, art, music. We offer the same in return. And trade, Ilara added. Your world has resources ours lacks. Ours has materials unknown to your science. Fair exchange can benefit both our peoples. As they spoke, a military helicopter landed at the edge of town. General Patricia Moore stepped out, accompanied by soldiers and scientists. Unlike the government agents she approached with an open expression, "I'm here to establish official contact," she announced, "I bring greetings from our government." Sheriff Diane watched as General Moore and Ilara talked, walking together toward the town hall. The protests slowly dispersed, some still grumbling but many now curious rather than afraid. The aliens' visit was becoming an international event. That evening a feast was prepared in the town square. Tables filled with food from local farms, townsfolk, and visitors mingled together. The three aliens sat with Sheriff Diane, Mayor Karen, and General Moore, sharing stories about their travels through space. Vela explained their star drive technology in simplified terms. The scientists took notes, fascinated by concepts centuries beyond Earth science. Nix demonstrated their universal translator device, which allowed them to speak and understand any language after hearing just a few sentences. Children gathered around asking questions that adults were too embarrassed to ask. Do you have families? Do you celebrate birthdays? What games do you play? Ilara answered them all with patience, explaining Lystherian childhood traditions, games and festivals. Children on her world studied in learning pods, 15 students with 2 teachers. They played games, developing both mind and body strengths. They celebrated seasonal changes and personal achievements. As night fell, lights were strung across the square. Music played. Humans and aliens danced together awkwardly at first. Then, with growing confidence, Sheriff Diane, watching from a bench, noticed how quickly fear had turned to curiosity and curiosity to friendship. The stars appeared overhead, the same stars that shone on Lystheria, though from a different angle. Tomorrow the aliens would continue repairs. Soon they would leave, returning to their journey through space. But tonight, under these stars, they were simply visitors far from home, enjoying the company of new friends. General Moore sat beside Sheriff Diane. You know, she said, everything changes now. First contact has happened in your town. The world will never be the same. Diane nodded, watching Ilara dancing with the mayor. I'm just glad it happened peacefully. She glanced at the general. Do you think, well, see more aliens now that they've found us? General Moore looked up at the stars. Who knows? But the universe just got a lot bigger for all of us, and a lot more interesting. The 6th day began with unexpected news. The alien ship repairs were complete ahead of schedule. Ilara informed Sheriff Diane and Mayor Karen that they would be departing that evening instead of staying the full 7 days. Is something wrong? Diane asked, noticing tension in the alien leader's posture. Ilara hesitated, her mismatched eyes troubled. We received a signal from our scout ship monitoring the outer reaches of your solar system, she explained. Another vessel has been detected approaching. Earth, it is not of our kind. Who is it? Mayor Karen asked. Ilara and Nix exchanged glances. Likely, Drakari. Nix said, her voice grim. The empire that has hunted our people. They may have tracked our ship. General Patricia Moore, who had been coordinating with the government, joined their meeting. Are these Drakari hostile? She asked directly. Very. Ilara confirmed. They believe all other species exist to serve them. They consider themselves the rightful rulers of the galaxy. The general frowned. What kind of weapons do they have? How much of a threat do they pose to Earth? Ilara looked troubled. Their technology is similar to ours, but devoted more to warfare than science. If they have followed standard protocol, they will send a single scout ship first to assess your world. And then Diane asked, sensing there was worse to come. Then Nick said they will determine if your planet has valuable resources or strategic value. If it does, they will eventually send a larger force. Panic flashed across Mayor Karen's face. We need to alert the world governments, prepare defenses. Ilara placed her hand on the mayor's shoulder gently. We did not come to bring war to your doorstep. We will draw them away. But if they follow you, they'll know about Earth anyway. Diane pointed out. Vela, the science officer, spoke up. We can mask our departure trajectory, make it appear we are leaving from somewhere else in your system. Perhaps the fourth planet Mars. General Moore said, "Yes, that one." Vela nodded. "We can create a false trail leading away from Earth, but what about your people?" General Moore asked, "Won't you be in danger?" Ilara smiled sadly. "Better us than your world, which has no defenses against their weapons. Our ship is faster. We can outrun them if necessary. The rest of the day passed in a blur of activity. While the aliens prepared their ship for departure, General Moore coordinated with military officials setting up monitoring systems to track the approaching alien vessel. Sheriff Diane helped organize a farewell gathering, the townspeople wanting one last chance to say goodbye to their visitors. By late afternoon, hundreds of people had gathered near the silver spacecraft. Many brought gifts, food, artwork, handmade items. Children had drawn pictures of the purple aliens, standing beside human figures under a sunny sky as sunset approached. Ilara, Vela, and Nix emerged from their ship. For the final time, Ilara wore ceremonial attire. A flowing silver dress with intricate patterns. Mayor Karen presented her with a small, wooden box containing soil seeds and water from pine wood. "Symbol of life from our world to yours," she said. Her voice catching. "Earth will remember you as our first friends among the stars." Ilara accepted the gift, bowing deeply. She handed Mayor Karen a small crystal device similar to the one she had shown the protesters. "This contains cultural information about our civilization," she explained. "Music, art, literature, history. When activated, it will project images and sounds. It requires no power source and will function for many of your years." Sheriff Diane stepped forward, feeling strangely reluctant to say goodbye. "Will we see you again?" she asked. Ilara smiled, her gold and silver eyes reflecting the setting sun. "Perhaps when the Drakari threat is addressed, we may return. Or other Lystherians will come to establish more formal relations. Your world is now known to us. We do not forget our friends." Nix approached General Moore, handing her a small metallic sphere. "This is a warning device," she said. "If Drakari ships approach despite our efforts, this will alert you. It has a range covering your entire solar system." The general accepted it carefully. "Thank you, and good hunting." The final goodbyes were exchanged as darkness fell. The aliens' boarding ramp retracted the entrance ceiling with a soft hiss. Humans stepped back, giving the spacecraft room. Local police and military personnel maintained a perimeter, keeping overeager spectators at a safe distance. The ship hummed with power lights illuminating around its base. The sound grew louder, vibrating through the ground. Slowly, the silver craft rose into the air, hovering momentarily before shooting upward, faster than any Earth aircraft could move. In seconds, it was only a bright point of light among the stars, then it vanished completely. The crowd remained looking upward, many with tears in their eyes. The first contact between Earth and another civilization had ended. The aliens had come and gone in less than a week, but nothing would ever be the same. Later that night, Sheriff Diane sat with General Moore and Mayor Karen in the town hall, reviewing everything that had happened. The general's phone rang constantly, government officials demanding updates and explanations. "I have specialists coming to debrief everyone who had significant contact with the aliens," the general explained. "Especially you, Sheriff, since you spent the most time with Ilara." Diane nodded, understanding the necessity but feeling protective of her memories. "They weren't a threat," she said. "They could have conquered us easily if they wanted to. Their technology was centuries beyond ours." The general sighed. "I believe you, but others will have questions. They always do when facing the unknown." Mayor Karen looked out the window toward the night sky. "The Drakari," she said quietly. "Will they really come here?" The general's expression grew serious. "The aliens seem to think they could divert them, but we can't depend on that." She pointed to the warning device Nix had given. "Her military scientists are already studying this. My superiors have authorized immediate funding for space-based defense systems." After the meeting, Sheriff Diane drove home through the quiet streets of Pinewood. Everything looked the same: houses, shops, streetlights. Yet everything had changed. The town would forever be known as humanity's first contact site. Tourists and researchers would come. Government attention would transform their quiet community. At home, Diane found she couldn't sleep. She sat on her back porch looking up at the stars, wondering which one was Listheria's son. She thought about Alara and her people traveling between those distant points of light. Her mind struggled to comprehend the vastness of space and the knowledge that humans were not alone. She wondered about the Drakari. Would Alara's plan to draw them away work? What would happen if it didn't? Earth had no defenses against advanced alien technology. A shooting star streaked across the sky. Diane made a wish, though she felt childish doing so. She wished for the aliens' safe journey. She wished for Earth's safety. She wished that someday Alara would return, bringing knowledge and friendship, rather than warnings of danger in the following days. Life in Pinewood tried to return to normal but couldn't. National news teams crowded the town. Scientists set up monitoring stations. Government officials came and went. The site where the alien ship had landed became a restricted area, surrounded by fences and guards. Sheriff. Diane found herself telling her story repeatedly to military intelligence FBI agents, NASA scientists. She described Alara's words, her gestures, the way her eyes changed color slightly with her emotions. The crystal Alara had given them was taken to a research facility, its contents carefully documented and studied. 1 week after the aliens' departure, General Moore returned to Pinewood. She asked Sheriff Diane to walk with her to the landing site, now enclosed in a large temporary structure. "We detected something last night." The general said their ship, or another one, briefly entered the outer solar system, then left at incredible speed. "Our astronomers tracked energy signatures consistent with what we observed when the Listherians departed." "It them?" Diane asked. "Or the Drakari?" The general shrugged. "We can't be certain. But whatever it was, it didn't approach Earth. It came to the edge of our system, then left." Diane looked up at the ceiling of the structure, imagining the stars beyond. Perhaps Alara succeeded in leading them away. Perhaps General Moore agreed. But we can't count on alien goodwill for our protection. The world is changing. Sheriff Diane. Nations are already discussing unified space defense systems, pooling resources and technology. The visitors made us look outward together for the first time. 6 months passed since the aliens left Pinewood. Life in the small town had changed dramatically. A government research center had been built near the landing site, bringing jobs and new residents. Tourism had boomed with visitors hoping to stand where the first confirmed extraterrestrials had walked. Sheriff Diane Foster had become something of a celebrity. Interviewed for documentaries, consulted by scientists. She tried to maintain normalcy, patrolling the streets, keeping the peace. But she often found herself looking at the night sky, wondering what was happening among those distant stars. It was a Tuesday evening when Diane received an urgent call from the research center. Dr. Lauren Bell, the lead scientist, sounded excited. "Sheriff, you need to come immediately. The warning device is active." 20 minutes later, Diane stood in a secure room watching as the small metallic sphere Nix had given them pulsed with soft blue light. Scientists huddled around monitoring equipment. General Moore, now promoted to oversee the entire alien contact program, joined them via video conference. "What does it mean exactly?" Diane asked. Dr. Bell pointed to a display showing the solar system. The device indicates a ship approaching Earth, not from the direction of Listheria but from elsewhere. "The Drakari." Diane whispered, "It's possible." General Moore said, her face grave on the screen. "But we can't be certain. The tracking shows it's decelerating as it approaches Mars, orbit moving slower than the Listherian ship did. When will it reach Earth?" Dr. Bell checked her calculations. 3 days if it maintains current speed. The next 48 hours were tense. Military forces worldwide went on high alert. The public was not informed to prevent panic, but governments prepared for possible first contact with a potentially hostile species. The warning device continued pulsing its blue light, growing slightly brighter as the unknown ship drew closer. On the morning of the 3rd day, Sheriff Diane was called back. To the research center, Dr. Bell met her at the entrance. "The ship has entered Earth orbit," she said. "It appears to be much smaller than the Listherian vessel, possibly a scout." As Alara warned, General Moore arrived by helicopter leading a team of specialists. They gathered in the command center, tracking the alien ship with every available technology. It's holding position. General Moore reported, "Not approaching or retreating. Just watching. Should we attempt communication?" Diane asked. The general looked uncertain. Ilara warned that the Drakari consider other species inferior. Would communicating signal weakness? Before anyone could answer, alarms blared throughout the facility. The warning device flashed rapidly, changing from blue to purple. "Another ship has entered the system," Dr. Bell announced, reading the data. "Much larger, coming in fast." All eyes turned to the displays. 2 vessels now appeared in Earth orbit. The smaller one, presumably Drakari, and a larger ship approaching rapidly. "The new ship is Listherian," General Moore said. "The energy signature matches their previous visit." Relief washed through the room. If the Listherians had returned, perhaps they would help defend Earth against the Drakari. But why had they come back so soon? Outside the facility, a crowd had gathered despite security personnel trying to maintain a perimeter. Rumors had spread quickly and people wanted to see if the aliens were returning. Diane joined General Moore and Dr. Bell on the roof observation platform, watching the sky there. A scientist pointed to a bright light moving across the evening sky, too fast and large to be a satellite or plane. The light grew brighter, descending toward Earth directly above the research facility. "It's them," General Moore said. "It's the Listherians." The ship that appeared was similar to Ilara's vessel, but larger and more impressive. It descended slowly, hovering above the landing pad, constructed after their first visit. The crowd beyond the fence line cheered, many recognizing the design from news footage of the original contact. A hatch opened, a ramp extending, and Ilara stepped out. Her purple skin and mismatched eyes immediately recognizable. She wore formal attire, looking regal and commanding. 4 other Listherians followed, her 2 females and 2 males, all dressed in what appeared to be military uniforms. General Moore stepped forward to greet them, Sheriff Diane at her side. "Welcome back to Earth, Ilara. We detected another ship in orbit. Is it?" Drakari. Ilara nodded, her expression serious. "It is a scout vessel, as we feared. They have been watching your world for several weeks. We detected them and came as quickly as possible." "What do they want?" Diane asked. "Resources. Slaves' territory," Ilara said. "The usual. Their empire expands constantly, consuming what they need, discarding what they don't. Their scout would have reported your technological level, classifying Earth as easily conquered." Fear rippled through the gathered humans. General Moore straightened her posture. "Well, fight them," she declared. "We may not have your technology, but we will defend our world." Ilara smiled, then a genuine expression of approval. "Your courage is admirable, but unnecessary. We have not come alone." She gestured to the sky. As night fell, completely stars became visible, and among them new lights appeared, moving in formation. The Listherian Alliance. Ilara explained, 17 species from different worlds united in mutual protection and exchange. We have come to formally invite Earth to join us, offering our protection until your technology advances." One of the male Listherians stepped forward, his skin a deeper purple, his eyes both emerald green. "I am Admiral Zareth," he introduced himself, commander of the defense fleet. "We have surrounded the Drakari scout. They will not report back to their empire, but isn't that dangerous?" Diane asked. "Want they send more ships when this one doesn't return?" Ilara shook her head. "The Drakari are cautious. They send scouts to hundreds of worlds. Each cycle most never find anything worth reporting. The loss of a single scout will not trigger invasion. They will simply mark this system for future exploration. Many cycles from now," Admiral Zareth continued, "our fleet will establish a protective perimeter around your solar system. Early warning stations, monitoring posts, training facilities to help your scientists understand space defense." "What do you want in return?" General Moore asked, suspicion evident in her voice. Ilara smiled. "Alliance," she said simply. "Partnership. Earth has resources, arts, culture, perspectives different from our own. We offer protection, technology, medical advances, education. You offer creativity resources, unique biological diversity, fair exchange benefits. All this is the foundation of the alliance. The formal meetings began the next day. Earth leaders joining via secure video links, Listherian diplomats explaining the structure of their alliance, the benefits and responsibilities of membership military officials, discussing immediate security concerns, scientists sharing information about Drakari technology and tactics. Sheriff Diane found herself once again serving as a bridge between the aliens and humans, her previous relationship with Alara giving her unique insight and trust on both sides. When formal meetings ended each day, she walked with Alara through the research facility grounds, catching up on the months since they had parted. They truly intended to return. Alara explained, they had only left to draw away the Drakari scout when it first appeared, but the scout had evaded them eventually, returning to study Earth more carefully. You risked much coming back. Diane observed. Alara looked up at the night sky where Listherian ships now patrolled, invisible to human eyes but there nonetheless. Some worlds are worth protecting, she said. Your people showed kindness to strangers. That alone makes you valuable allies. In our experience, species who extend friendship to those different from themselves become the strongest members of the alliance. The small town of Pinewood soon found itself the center of global attention again, but this time not just as the site of first contact but as the birthplace of humanity's entrance to a galactic community. The Listherian Alliance established its Earth headquarters in the research facility. Representatives from all 17 member species arrived over the following weeks, each alien more strange and wonderful than the last, some resembling Earth creatures, others completely unlike anything in human experience. For Sheriff Diane, life would never return to normal, but watching humans and aliens working together, planning a shared future, she decided normal was overrated. The universe had opened to humanity, bringing both challenges and opportunities. Beyond the stars waited new friends, new knowledge, new possibilities. And it had all begun in her small town, with the landing of a silver ship and the arrival of purple-skinned visitors with mismatched eyes. Looking back, she couldn't help but smile at how quickly fear had turned to curiosity. Curiosity to friendship and friendship to alliance. That was the pattern Alara had described seeing on countless worlds throughout the galaxy. Proof that beneath surface differences, intelligent life shared common hopes and dreams. As night fell over Pinewood, humans and aliens gathered in the town square, sharing stories and songs beneath the stars. Just the beginning of a much larger story that would continue for generations to come. 5 years passed since Earth joined the Listherian Alliance. The changes had been enormous, yet gradual enough that most humans had adapted to their new reality. Alien technology had transformed medicine, energy production, and communications. Listherian teachers established schools sharing knowledge from across the galaxy while learning Earth customs and history. Sheriff Diane Foster now served as Earth's ambassador to the Alliance. A position she had never expected, but one that suited her practical approach and genuine curiosity about other species. She divided her time between Pinewood and the orbiting diplomatic station, where representatives from all 18 member worlds met regularly. Today she stood in her old uniform watching as Pinewood celebrated the 5th anniversary of First Contact Day. The town had grown into a thriving center of human-alien cooperation. The landing site now housed an impressive cultural exchange center where visitors from Earth and beyond shared art, music, and knowledge. Ambassador Diane looked around the crowded square, spotting familiar faces, both human and alien. Mayor Karen, now governor of the newly established First Contact province, chatted with a group of insectoid Zentari diplomats. Their translator, devices converting clicks and whistles into smooth English. General Moore, now heading Earth's Defense Council, demonstrated Earth martial arts to a group of fascinated Listherian security officers. But Diane was waiting for one specific visitor. A familiar ship descended through the clouds, landing gracefully at the designated pad. Diane smiled as the hatch opened and Alara stepped out. The Listherian leader looked the same, her purple skin and mismatched eyes immediately recognizable, though. She now wore the formal attire of the Alliance High Council. Alara. My friend Diane greeted her with the traditional Listherian hand gesture, a crossed arms and shallow bow, which Alara returned before embracing her in the human style they had both Come to prefer your world has changed much since we first met, Ilara said as they walked through the celebration. Human adaptability continues to impress the Alliance Council. 5 years is nothing in galactic terms, yet you have embraced interspecies cooperation faster than any world in our records. Diane laughed. We had good teachers, and necessity is a powerful motivator. Knowing the Drakari are out there, they walked to a quieter area away from the festivities, a small garden beside the cultural center. Sitting on a bench beneath flowering trees, they caught up on personal news and broader developments across the Alliance. The Drakari have been unusually active lately, Ilara said, her tone growing serious. They've conquered 3 unaligned worlds in the Vega sector. The Alliance Council is concerned they may be building towards something larger. Diane frowned. Is Earth in danger? Not directly, Ilara assured her. The protective grid around your system is fully operational. They would need a massive fleet to penetrate it, and our response would be immediate. But no world is completely safe while the Drakari Empire exists. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a young woman in a science uniform. Dr. Kelly Bennett, head of the Human Alien Research Division, Ambassador Foster, High Counselor Ilara. She greeted them formally. We're ready for the demonstration. Whenever you are. Diane and Ilara followed Dr. Bennett to the research center where a crowd had gathered. Scientists from Earth and 6 other Alliance worlds had been working together for years on a joint project, combining Lystherian energy technology with unique Earth materials. Today, they would reveal their creation. The assembled group moved to an observation room overlooking a test chamber. Inside sat what appeared to be a small crystal sphere on a pedestal. Dr. Bennett activated the controls, and the sphere began to glow with blue-green light. What you're seeing is the first Earth-built clean energy core, Ilara explained to the observers. Combining Lystherian crystal technology with Earth minerals, it produces enough energy to power your entire town without pollution, radiation, or waste. The Alliance Council has approved full technology sharing for this project. The audience applauded. Government officials looked particularly pleased. This advancement would transform Earth's energy infrastructure, ending dependence on fossil fuels. Diane felt proud, knowing her small town had played a key role in this breakthrough. As the demonstration concluded, Diane received an urgent message on her communication device. Her presence was requested at the orbital station immediately. General Moore was already heading to the shuttle pad. What's happened? Diane asked as she and Ilara joined the general. A Drakari battle fleet has been detected approaching the Rigel system, General Moore explained. Our defensive outpost there sent the alert. The Rigel system, Ilara said sharply. That's less than 5 light years from Earth. Within an hour, they were aboard the orbital station joining an emergency meeting of Alliance representatives. The large display showed tactical information, a fleet of 20 Drakari warships moving toward the Rigel system where the Alliance maintained a scientific outpost and monitoring station. Admiral Zareth, now Supreme Commander of Alliance forces, addressed the gathering. This is the largest Drakari fleet movement we've observed in 50 cycles, he stated. Their normal pattern is to send no more than 5 ships for a conquest. This suggests a change in strategy. Could they be targeting Earth? Diane asked the question. Everyone was thinking. Possibly, Admiral Zareth acknowledged. They may have identified Earth as a key Alliance world, worth the resources required for a major assault. The Rigel outpost could be merely a stepping stone. The room erupted in concerned discussion. Representatives from all 18 worlds offering suggestions, demanding information, pledging support. Earth, being the newest and technologically weakest member of the Alliance, was particularly vulnerable, despite the defensive grid. Ilara raised her hand, silencing the room. The Lystherian leader commanded respect throughout the Alliance. As High Counselor, I propose immediate action, she said. Every Alliance world must contribute to the defense. The Drakari must be stopped at Rigel before they can approach Earth. The vote was unanimous. Alliance ships from across the galaxy would converge at Rigel, forming a defensive line. Each world would contribute according to its capabilities. Earth would send its newly developed fighter craft, small but fast and piloted by humans, who had trained with Alliance tactics for the past 5 years. Over the next 3 days, ships arrived: Lystherians, Centauri Volari, and 15 other species united against the Drakari threat. Earth pilots prepared their vessels, nervous but determined. Diane moved between diplomatic meetings and strategy sessions, feeling the weight of her position as Earth's representative. On the 4th day, Admiral Zareth called the command staff together. "The Drakari fleet has changed course," he announced. "They're no longer heading for Rigel. They've divided into smaller groups moving toward different sectors." "Why would they do that?" General Moore asked. "They had numerical advantage at Rigel information." Admiral Zareth said simply, "They detected our defensive buildup, realized they would face the combined Alliance fleet, and adjusted their strategy. The Drakari are conquerors but not fools. They prefer easier targets, so Earth is safe." Diane asked. For now, the Admiral nodded. "But this incident reveals something important. The Drakari are watching, studying, learning. They test our responses. They will return better prepared next time." The immediate crisis had passed, but a new reality had emerged. The Drakari threat was growing. The peace Earth had enjoyed since joining the Alliance might not last forever. Later that evening, Diane stood at the observation deck of the orbital station, looking down at her home planet. Beautiful blue and white swirls of ocean and cloud. Ilara joined her silently, both women contemplating the view. "5 years ago, we came to your world, seeking only to prepare our ship and continue our journey," Ilara said softly. "We never intended to draw you into galactic politics or conflict." Diane smiled without looking away from Earth. "You gave us the stars," she replied. "We may face dangers, but the knowledge, the friendships, the possibilities are worth it." She turned to face her alien friend. "Before you came, we thought we were alone in the universe. Now we're part of something larger than ourselves. That's worth protecting." Ilara nodded, her different-colored eyes reflecting the starlight. "This is why the Alliance endures," she said, "because across 18 worlds separated by vast distances, we share this belief that together we are stronger than alone, that knowledge and friendship outweigh fear and isolation. The Drakari will never understand this. They conquer but never connect. They take but never share. That is why, despite their weapons and numbers, they will ultimately fail." As the station orbited night, fell over Pinewood, where the first contact celebration continued. People looked up, seeing new stars that weren't stars at all but Alliance ships watching over Earth. Some children pointed excitedly, telling stories they'd learned about distant worlds and the beings who lived there. Stories of friendship. Across the stars, Ambassador Diane Foster, former small-town sheriff, smiled at how far they had all come in just 5 years, and wondered what the next 5 would bring, knowing that whatever challenges arose, humans would face them alongside their alien friends. The greatest discovery wasn't alien life or advanced technology, but the simple truth that beneath surface differences, intelligent beings across the galaxy shared common hopes, fears, and dreams. And in that shared experience lay the foundation for understanding compassion and peace among the stars.